Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a short update on Hurricane Lee. So, as of 8 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time, Wednesday, September the 13th, Hurricane Lee has maximum sustained winds of 115 miles per hour, a minimum central pressure of 948 millibars, and northwesterly movement at 6 miles per hour. We have Hurricane Margaret with 85 mile per hour winds, of central pressure of 975 millibars, and northerly movement at 12 miles per hour. And then Invest 97L now has a 50% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 2 days, and an 80% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 7 days. So looking at the latest National Hurricane Center's cone for Hurricane Lee, Hurricane Lee's wind field continues to expand with tropical storm force winds extending several hundred miles from the center, and even hurricane force winds extending about 200 miles from the center. And for that reason, Bermuda is now under a tropical storm warning. Lee is expected to weaken to a hurricane this afternoon, pass to the west of Bermuda by about 200 miles by Thursday evening, Thursday night, as a hurricane, remain a hurricane through Saturday morning, and now the latest cone has Lee making a landfall in far southeastern Maine 2 a.m. Sunday morning, with the cone extending from central western Nova Scotia, covering all of Maine into eastern areas of New England, and then by Monday morning, we see Lee moving into Atlantic Canada as a post-tropical storm. So looking at the latest Zoom Earth satellite imagery and interactive cone for Hurricane Lee continues to look decent on the visible satellite. It's maintaining its structure, and we see that Hurricane Lee continues to be a very large storm. Lee is about the size of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida combined, and we're already seeing clouds spreading across Bermuda as Hurricane Lee continues to move to the north. Now, looking at the interactive cone, by this afternoon, as I mentioned earlier, by 1 p.m. Central Time this afternoon, Lee is expected to weaken to a 110 mile per hour Category 2 hurricane moving to the north. Thursday, 1 a.m. Central Time, 105 mile per hour Category 2 hurricane moving to the north-northwest. By Thursday, 1 p.m. Central Time, 100 mile per hour Category 2 hurricane moving to the north, passing about 200 miles west of Bermuda. Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, Friday morning, 90 mile per hour Category 1 hurricane moving to the north-northeast. By Friday 1 p.m., an 85 mile per hour Category 1 hurricane moving to the north, and then by Saturday 1 a.m., an 80 mile per hour Category 1 hurricane moving to the north, about 200 miles southeast of Cape Cod. And then, as I mentioned in the National Hurricane Center's cone, we are now expecting a landfall in far southeastern Maine. By Sunday 1 a.m. Central Time, a 60 mile per hour post-tropical cyclone on the Maine-New Brunswick border, moving through Fredericton, New Brunswick, and then up towards southeastern Ottawa by Monday 1 a.m. Central Time, 40 mile per hour post-tropical cyclone, as Lee is expected to dissipate. Looking at the latest tropical storm force wind probabilities and timing, Bermuda, you have a 50 to 60% chance of tropical storm force winds from Lee, and these will be arriving around Thursday 2 a.m. Central Time. And then as we go up towards New England now, in Cape Cod, you have about a 50 to 60% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds now, and these will be arriving Friday around 8 p.m. And then looking towards Maine, you have about a 40 to 60% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds now, and these will be arriving early Saturday morning. Same with Nova Scotia, and then Saturday evening across northern New Brunswick, and then in areas of western Newfoundland, southeastern Ottawa by Sunday 8 a.m. And before I close the video out, I'm going to read the key messages for Hurricane Lee. Dangerous surf and life-threatening rip currents will affect portions of the northern Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, the Turks and Caicos Islands, the Bahamas, Bermuda, and most of the U.S. East Coast through much of the week. Tropical storm conditions, heavy rainfall, and high surf are expected to impact Bermuda beginning late tonight or early Thursday, and a tropical storm warning is in effect for the island. There is an increasing risk of wind coastal flooding and rain impacts from Lee in portions of New England and Atlantic Canada beginning on Friday and continuing through the weekend. Watches may be required for portions of these areas later today or tonight. Due to Lee's large size, hazards will extend well away from the center, and there will be little to no significance, and this is important, little to no significance on exactly where the center reaches the coast. So because the wind field is going to be so large when Lee reaches the northeast and Atlantic Canada, uh, tropical storm force winds are going to be widespread across the whole region. So thanks for watching this morning's update on Lee. Please stay safe and have a wonderful day, my friends.